All right.
Yeah, I can't
So
wait.
my download's almost done.
My buddy is ready.
I think I'm there.
Oh yeah, somebody's here. I got 2 people here.
Okay.
But I can see
I'm sure it's exactly what everybody was expecting.
Yeah, it should be exactly what everybody's expecting.
This working on a 5-story mansion? Unacceptable.
I love watching these little bodies pop in. We figured with all the complaints about using Unity assets, on Wednesday, Xander started drawing with crayons and shit to make this whole world happen. 100% made by us. If everybody goes to the tavern who's in, you can grab swords.
Yeah.
If you come to the front, there's swords and axes and stuff that you can grab.
This is not like the build that we're using for the game. This isn't even the same network.
No, literally just got bored. Xander just had time on
threw
Wednesday.
it together while we were working on stuff.
Quick, I can give a little bit of insight on some of the actions for the game. So, like, how you're coming into the tavern right now, and you can go up and you can just grab, like any little items off the tables, or you can grab a mug, you can grab, bottles and stuff like that. We're going to have things set up like that. So if you want a drink or something, you can go up and you can grab a drink out of it. You can set it down. But so the items themselves won't actually, they will here, but in game, they won't leave the tavern with you. They'll, despawn from your hand back onto the bar and all that kind of stuff. And if you want, you can try and kill the dragon.
What dragon?
This is one of the taverns that will be in the game.
Yeah,
Mom's actually been modeling up a few different taverns, so we have a lot of different looking ones now. I had an idea. We haven't really fully talked about this yet, but I had an idea where if you drop the weapon on the ground, say it would like nobody could pick it up, right? But you after a second, it would spawn either back into your hand or back into an item slot on you. But it would give you the option to be able to throw a weapon at an enemy to damage it, and then the weapon would, after a second or so, would come back to you. Kind of like Thor. If I can get everybody's attention real quick, just to make an announcement about what you're in right now. So, who all has played Diablo 2 Lord of Destruction? Or is familiar with it?
Yeah.
So, are you guys familiar with the secret cow level from Diablo 2?
Oh, yeah. I mean, what secret cow level?
Recent games still.
Exactly.
Cow
What this is right now, that started as this stupid memey, let's do this as a tavern talk, is actually going to be a secret hidden dungeon in Ilysia with better animation on everything. You're going to be able to gather some of these animals walking around as an in-game pet in the 3D world with this 2D thing following you around. There's going to be 2D armor that you can find. There's going to be a dungeon boss that's this huge 2D pixel thing that we've been talking about. So, yeah. And you're going to have to do, and able to find it, you're going to have to do some crazy shit to be able to find it.
I love
some real crazy shit.
What's the size of this play area right now?
It's actually about the size of Central Park.
It really is.
Believe it or not.
It's really big. When we first got the world itself laid out, Xander and I think we've easily spent 20 hours in it ourselves, just wandering around. Just trying to see how realistic everything looks,
This world. No.
I think look at this bush. This is the most realistic bush I've ever seen.
Release it now.
Exactly. Money, please. But I think it takes, I want to say if you're running full speed, it takes about 2.5 to 3 hours to get from one side to the other side of one of the smaller sections of the world.
Fuck yeah, dude.
And that's without any obstacles. That's without any collision detection on the mountains or anything
that's
that.
without
that's just
mobs and
How long does that take? How long does that
2.5 to 3 hours. And that's on the smaller ends. On the bigger side, I was in my admin run where I was going 10 times speed, and it still took me about 30 or 40 minutes to get from one side, all the way at the top to all the way at the bottom of the world.
Wow. Right, so pronunciation is Ilysia.
Yes, Ilysia, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, thank God. That's how
I've been saying Ilysia for so long.
I pronounce it right in the video.
Ilysia.
It'd be cool if I could stand back there and actually pour drinks for people and stuff. I mean, is that something?
So that's actually something. Yeah, that's something we thought about, is letting people have professions in the game, not just So basically, if you had a profession as a crafter, or if you wanted the tin bar or sell stuff, you could level up that way as well. Not just sell stuff, but also level up how much interaction you do. Not really sure exactly how we would do that.
Bartender.
So here's our opinion on UI and VR. It shouldn't be there. You shouldn't it should be as real as possible. help. So one of our ideas for our current UI is something wearable in a sense that you just would look at really quick just to check on how you're doing.
Like Fallout.
Yeah,
Like
so
a look
like
down at your
scabbards
belt
would be
type thing?
cool because like then you can real quick just drag and drop from the front back sides whatever most likely we'll have something like that.
Realistically, it's an MMO, so if we deviate too much from like traditional MMO stuff, then it just becomes like a multiplayer kind of crappy experience. I
wouldn't say it's crappy because really when it comes to it, like
to me, like there has to be a comfort level for casual gamers as well as hardcore players. It has to be a happy medium. And honestly, when we start some public testing, we're going to be trying a couple different things.
It'll be changing all the time. Yeah, we have tons of stuff to try.
Like equipping socketed stuff like to your body is fun in practice, but if you're doing it 100 times, like
in a raid, in a dungeon, in PvP,
what's a good level of interactivity versus what isn't a good level of
The gold members actually going to end up being the alpha testers and all that at some point.
Yes.
Yeah,
okay, cool.
yeah. You guys are in alpha testing. We're doing alpha testing for Kickstarter. Obviously, that'll be an option. So when you guys see that, don't think you're not included. As
sweet.
Kickstarter gets closer, we're gonna drop a little bit more rules and stuff about because some of you guys have done hundreds of dollars at this point, and not to say anything for the people that just started. I mean that the dollar amount has nothing to do with it. Well, I mean it does in the sense that we want to give you guys a good value for what you've been doing for us as well.
And do for a magic system also.
Okay, so we've tested a couple things, and obviously there's already games out there that have examples of it. So it's another one of those things that we're probably going to implement 2 different types of builds while we're doing the official alpha testing, and then we're just going to get feedback. Because a problem that I've had with something like Orbis, even though it's cool because it reminds me of The Witcher 3, it's just consistency. Yes, there is a skill level behind consistently casting in the game, and the people that are good at it are really good at it. Yeah. But to me, it kind of...
But it can turn you off to being a magic caster if you don't...
Yeah, exactly. So once again, the casual user kind of, doesn't want to do it. I do want to kind of go for that mass appeal but I know it's going to be hard because this is such a niche type of market anyway, but...
Well, for now.
For now, yeah. But what probably ends up happening is that there's going to be a hardcore magic using system, and then there's going to be a warlock style entry level magic using system. Does that make sense for DPS?
I like
totally.
that idea.
Yeah. So and keep in mind,
I just want a high skill level one as well.
Right.
Yeah. That way both people are happy, and there'll be advantages to both different ones. So I'm a mega nerd. I used to LARP for 10 years. I do think that there's a valid argument for velocity based damage,
which is what we're aiming for. We don't want the walk up and wiggle
modifiers.
So our weapons occlude with walls and each other when you're holding them, but then as you can see, you can go into the tavern with a sword and knock around books and stuff like that. The plan is for the Kickstarter and after Kickstarter and all that. So if we run Kickstarter and we meet just our goal, and our goal I really don't want to say just yet, but we're starting modestly, right, and then hoping that it just skyrockets. So if we hit the exact goal, then what I'll do is obviously Patreon stops before Kickstarter. Everybody keeps everything they've gotten so far and all that. After Kickstarter, if we only just make our goal, then what I'll do is I'll open up, instead of Kickstarter, I'm going to open up a new backing system through the website itself that people can go to and purchase some of the same tiers that would have been available during the Kickstarter campaign, and it would just be, just things on the website itself to be able to pick up.
Will there be dungeons and raids?
Oh, hell yeah, dude! Yeah.
I mean,
we actually our plan for launch, can't guarantee it, but plan for launch is at least 3 dungeons.
I think there's going to be more than that.
Yeah, realistically, there probably will be more than that. No, I mean, but realistically, I can't say anything about the dungeons yet. Okay, Kickstarter happens. We're laying everything out for everybody. We want that wow factor for them. We don't want a bunch of old news during Kickstarter. But the way we're doing our dungeons. Fuck, I can't say. I'm sorry, but yeah, just the way we're doing it. Yeah, trust me. Once we lay it out and everybody knows, it's gonna be oh shit, that's awesome.
Yeah, there'll be some traditional style dungeons, and then there's gonna.
We've got some stuff we've got some big shit planned.
PvP at launch? Yes, no.
Yeah,
definitely. Because honestly,
unless
like
if something goes
we're not-
horribly wrong,
we're not going to be able
that.
to, we're not going to be able to fill the world with quests and everything at launch. So the idea is like, how do you keep people busy and having fun? And that's PvP, dungeons, and hopefully a raid. Hopefully, but I mean, raids will be coming. Like, we'll get those going real soon. But we just can't guarantee them right at launch.
How about races?
Yes, there will be.
Oh yeah. If you can kind of expect the normal thing that you see in MMOs, but
like D&D traditional style.
But the thing is that we aren't doing. I once again can't say everything because, well, yeah, there's humans in the game. There's not much new shit you can do with that, right? A human is a human is a human.
Mm-hmm.
That's like 100% the race we're launching with. We got other stuff planned with it, but the way we're doing elves and orcs and shit and stuff like that it's not. It's in no way the same way anybody else has ever done it.
I want to do like announcement trailers. Does that make sense to try to make it more fun?
So basically, when we come up with a new race, there will be an announcement trailer for that race. One thing that Xander and I loved in VR chat were the little characters you can play as where you're like 2 feet tall in the actual world. And that's something we really want to do in this. And we just have to figure out how to do it right.
If you ever...
Will there be crafting at launch? Or...
Yes, there will be.
Yeah.
We have a couple ideas for crafting. That'll probably be another announcement video to show kind of a quick mechanic.
This gameplay trailer isn't going to have the crafting in it.
It's going to have combat and
combat, world,
movement mechanics.
Enemy interaction.
Once you guys see it, talk to you guys about it to try to get a feel for like what we have in mind for it and some feedback. Once you actually,
it's really good
kind
too.
of in use. I think you guys will like it.
With a Kickstarter, we have to have like some, because for the Kickstarter campaign to be successful, we've got to go overboard for it, right? We got to have a bunch of artwork, we got to have a bunch of like videos and GIFs and everything. Right. Do like a simple animation of the UI working, just so everybody can kind of see it.
Skyrim-esque classes. Are you talking about just like the feeling of like you pick up something and that's what you get good at, or do you mean like perk trees and all that kind of crap?
Can I go in on that a little bit, Xander? Just like a little bit, because I mean, Zenith's already announced their crap, so it doesn't really matter if we say.
I mean, sure, yeah. Okay.
I won't go super.
As long as they're not like promising stuff that.
No. So this is what I do. So let's say you're wearing heavy armor, right? Like you've been running around in the world and you're using heavy armor. And you come across like a spell that you want to use, and you can use it, right? But because you're not in cloth armor, you're not going to be as efficient with that as you would if you were, being in the metal armor, and vice versa. If you're a complete cloth wearer, but you'll be able to mix and match, right? But like, some armor and apparel will have like stats on it that help boost towards a specific skill set. But it will never force you into that skill set. It'll be your choice. If you're out and like a weapon breaks, or if you're just like, if you find a new axe, you find a bow, whatever you find, you can pick up and you can use it. If you're already skilling yourself towards like a ranger class, whatever class, we don't really even have names for it yet because we're so into this whole open class system where you can just, because to us, an MMO is cool on a computer, but this isn't like just a flat screen game. This is VR, and for it to feel more realistic, you should be able to teach yourself things. So that's kind of the idea. Like, so if you want to run around in steel boots, leather pants, steel gauntlets, and a cloth shirt, you're going to have a shirt that's more towards magic. You're going to have, leather that's more towards like stealth, or we don't really know what it is. I'm just kind of pulling. This is just being pulled out of my ass at this point. So, it sounds like somebody is furiously masturbating to this good news right now. All of this.
So skill set system is going to be pretty traditional. What we have planned for it, as long as everything's open, is as you progress in like a melee skill, then that'll be like a warrior stat that you're increasing, and that's going to unlock certain special skills in that tree as you do a warrior build.
Same Orbis style of attack, like like hamstring is up, down, right, left, blah.
No.
Okay, good.
Like, so my idea for combat.
I'm not going to hate on Orbis because they beat everybody out, right?
Like Orbis to me, I will say, like my personal opinion of Orbis,
they kept people interested when they are there,
right? And they are the first MMO like for VR. Like that's the thing. Like even if it's small, like that's kind of just like our opinion on it. Like,
but yeah, I hate the combat system.
But I don't play it, so.
Yeah.
I've played some of it. Like it's fun. I just
I mean, I did. I guess I played it for like 5 minutes of the or however long. And I mean, yeah, I was bored to tears.
5
but, I mean,
whole minutes.
It was awful. But yeah.
But I see what you're saying though. With the combos for different skills. No, we have a different idea in mind for.
We set our hats down and say Ilysia is done. It's not just going to be a VR MMO RPG. It's going to be, our eventual goal is, and once again, don't quote me on this, but what we want to see in the game is we want you to be able to come in. We want you to be able to just say, hey, I'm going to spend my entire day farming today. I'm going to pick up a hoe. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to go.
You know what he means.
Walk around. Yeah, exactly. I mean, like my idea is eventually Ilysia is a game where you're not just even at launch, we don't want you to have to fight. If you just want to explore, you can get experience exploring and just wandering through the woods.
Yes.
Finding points of interest and stuff like that. If you just want to be a peaceful player, you can be a peaceful player. We're going to have ruins. We're going to have all sorts of shit that you can just find out in the world. And that's going to give you experience. Yeah, exactly. We made the world so big because we want you at points to get lost. We want you to get lost. The world is not going to be completely populated all the time. And I know some people were bitching about that because it's lazy game design. It's like, nah, bro. Like, if you walk out into the desert right now, all you're going to find is desert and rocks. You're not going to find a town. Like, that's what we want. We want you to go out into the woods. We want you to get lost. We want you to be able to hunt. You want to be able to, but you'll find ruins at points. Because of the backstory, there's going to be stuff out there to find. And, what we want, and this is the reason why we brought everybody to the tavern, because the point of the taverns is let's say you're wandering and you come across some ruins, and you go in, you can't beat the enemies, you're not part of a group, you're not part of a guild, or maybe your guildmates aren't online, but what you can do is you can go to a tavern, you can find people that are just there, and you can say, hey guys, I found this place, we can all go and get loot together, and you kind of just find new friends in the game, you know what I mean?
Totally.
Yeah. So that's kind of our idea, or just run in screaming, waving your sword around. One of the two. I mean, there's that option too.
You just gotta soul the entire dungeon.
Well, I will say this. We have talked about the possibility of one person, if you can dodge, if you can get through it, taking down a world boss on your own, as long as you can stay alive. Thing that kills an MMO, like a giant open world, is fast travel, right? So, one idea that we had for the game is okay, how do we do teleporting without killing the game, right? But how do you also have a giant open world without it being boring walking from place to place? So, and I don't give a fuck who knows here about this. So anyway, so one idea that we have for this is, in Diablo you have scrolls of town teleport, right?
Oh,
you can't immediately. So in an MMO you'd have to do it differently. In Diablo it always just took you back to the same town over and over again.
Do you guys plan on implementing trade or markets so
hell yeah,
keep the economy
definitely
going?
One of my ideas is when you're just wandering through the world and you come across a ruin, there's going to be actual treasure and relics to find that are worth a lot of money, and the idea behind that is you can either use it to barter with people, hey, I'll give you this thing that's worth $1 million something or whatever it is if you help me get through this dungeon. Or one thing that we want to be able to do is a trader, letting people be merchants in the game.
You're not just going to be able to walk up to anybody anywhere in the world and just cut their head off.
No. We got to figure out the way to do PvP, right? So, PvP at launch, there will definitely be an arena, right? So there'll definitely be a place where you can go and fight.
Can you watch? Can you be a spectator?
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So something that you haven't seen at all is for our genre, we're going for that whole crystal magic type of fantasy. And something that we haven't really shown off yet is any of the crystal magic tech, not magic tech from Final Fantasy, but kind of that steampunk style stuff. So with that, we like the idea of being able to sit in a tavern and see people questing,
which means players will be able to stream what they're doing whenever they're playing.
Yeah, so we're not sure. We're still trying to. It's going to take more play testing to see specifically how many people can do it, where all we can do it, and all that stuff. But as far as streaming your own adventure, and we're looking at trying to do player channels so that you can do fashion, or questing, or just fun stuff, kind of people like to do on YouTube anyway. But
and what he hasn't said yet is that the whole idea is that not just in game, but you'd also be able to hook it up to a Twitch channel or a YouTube thing. So you can stream. So if there's a PvP arena or if people are in a dungeon and they find some magical thing that nobody else has found, they can immediately start streaming to like all the taverns or a specific tavern or something in the world and kind of brag, hey, look what I found, everybody. You know, something like that. This starting area that's in Ilysia that everybody starts in is the like low tech thing. Like it's a low tech like continent.
And you'll know why when we introduce the story and all that stuff. But
yeah,
you're not loaded into the height of civilization at first.
There's once you start getting, once we get into the game and we're able to get it going, like there's some big shit that's gonna happen.
Cool if we could get like flintlock pistols and like blunderbusses and stuff.
We can neither confirm or deny any of that.
There's gonna be safe areas, so like you can't just like spam stuff. Like in towns and taverns, you're gonna be.
You can't just
safe.
walk into a tavern and just nuke everybody. Inside.
No,
I could see myself spending hours being just like a blacksmith.
That's the plan. That's literally the plan.
I mean, that would be cool. I could like set up my own shop, but also like go and adventure when I go.
Yeah. I think you're gonna like what all we have in mind.
So like, here's the thing: is that we want you to be able to explore the world pretty freely, right? So like, there will be scaled enemies, I think.
Originally to scale, but in practice. The problem with scaling enemies is that now all of a sudden the whole world you can explore without really having to work for it. I don't like that. We'll probably do like a within reason type of scaling, like a couple levels, but everything scaling just kind of, to me, breaks the game.
I think for two-handed weapons, we were thinking that you could use them one-handed, but if you were holding them with two, you do more damage or something like that. Kind of like DPS warriors. You remember Fury warriors, but they could hold two-handers, but they just did less damage.
Planning to have some foreign languages.
We've got some people that are interested in helping with that. So I think do you want to talk about what you had planned for the whole foreign language thing for helping us? Because you had an idea for that.
I've got a friend of mine who can code for a Discord bot that would like automatically translate every announcement and DM to you. Like, let's say you have the French role. Well, once an announcement will be made, it will be translated in your language, in French, and it will be sent in your DMs directly.
And so then the idea is that we've got all these people, so we know who speaks what language, right? And so we can kind of reach out and say, hey, who's comfortable doing some voice acting and helping? You know, basically we just have to find a way to get you on a good mic and, you know, get help translating some stuff into the game. From basically we're just our plan is pretty much just like, you know, I mean, you guys have been helping us with ideas for the game. Why not let you guys also help us translate the game? You can have a bow on your back and two-handed battle axes in each hand. Like that's the idea. You're not going to be limited, but you just won't be a master at it, if that makes sense. Once everybody is able to see the story so far, you'll understand why it's humans at launch. That doesn't mean there aren't other races at launch. That's just it's other races at launch are wanted, but it's kind of like a back burner thing right now, just because it's if we introduce other races, you know, you just like, okay, I'm going to transfer my character over to this race or that race, you know. There will be starting areas for each race, like in most, you know, MMOs.
I like that.
It's just that for the story, especially with the way the story ends, the humans matter a lot. So that's kind of why that's the case. And obviously, you know, I mean, that was we wrote it that way just because, like, hey, we've got humans, so we're going to do humans and all that shit. But we made it count, so it matters now. It's not just like there's no reason. There's a reason for it. The other races, we've got 2 races that we want at launch. Hopefully we can make them work. If we can't, then it'll just be update number 1. I think
you teased one of them in chat, right?
Okay, I kind of did. So we've got elves, right? Like, our elves aren't going to be the normal kind of elves that people see in games. Like, we've got them very...
We'll go more in depth with them later. But
yeah.
There's going to be elves, and then
the same with the orcs. Like, we've got orcs that are going to be in the game, but it's not going to be like the normal tribal wearing loincloth crap that you see in every game with orcs. Like, we've got a really good idea for them. Like, they're going to be more noble is what I'll say, and that's all I can say about that. Listen, I would make the whole game cat girls, but my bank account just can't take all that money at once. Okay.
Look, all these characters are just cleaning themselves.
God.
So, can you tell me a little bit about the relationship between mounts and caravans?
No. There will be mounts in the game, obviously. I mean, you can't have a giant open world and not have mounts, right?
Are you going to be able to solo stuff?
Like I said, if you find a world boss and you can stay alive long enough, drink enough potions, and just one ticket's health down, why not?
Or like
You
But,
can
like,
get.
I mean,
one
it's
hit.
gonna be like
I mean,
instances. So when you have like a party of 4 members, it's gonna be like scaling harder. I suppose when you're solo it.
Thing, we're not there yet, but like, so we have thoughts on it. My thought is like, to me, it's a cool experience when people can take down a big boss they're not supposed to be able to, right? Or like a situation like because we've joked before about like, man, I'd love to see a YouTube video of 80 people on a server, all level 1, go up against the world boss and take it down. Just all these little level 1 people, just like fleas, just dying and just like attacking and everything, you know? Like,
So yeah, that's something I think we're still kind of knocking that around.
yeah, and that's what alpha and beta is going to be for, you know. Like, we're going to do a lot of hit or miss stuff in that, and some of it will be on purpose, you know. Some of it we'll do shit we know won't work, like we'll think won't work, but we want everybody to tell us it won't work or tell us it works, you know.
Yeah,
kind of like this.
Everyone is alpha.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
I
Just like this.
I think I got one idea about the size of the group. What about some level limit like 400? And then you have 1 player or level 400 or 400 players or level 1.
Oh, that's a cool idea.
there you go. I like it.
Yeah.
Well, the action economy dictates the 401 players.
Yeah.
So that's Josh talking to us.
Yeah, what's up?
What's up, Josh?
Not much.
That's our cousin.
Wait.
Oh, it's Josh.
That's our cousin.
Josh.
I knew him when he was a wee little baby.
Oh, just a wee babu.
Yeah.
Teaching you how to cuss.
Well, yeah, we did used to teach how to cuss. I remember that. Getting in trouble for teaching how to cuss.
Please do not tell Aunt Beth.
If you've ever had a hard life, it's a good chance it was because of us.
I know them with their Christian server video game.
Oh no. Sorry, guys.
So, now, are you also in the? Are you just in the chat, or are you also in the?
He's probably. Are you watching the stream right now?
I'm just watching the screen.
I'll stop zooming around so much then.
I like our artwork. So
Wait a minute. Cavett is your cousin?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. No wonder the big backer money. Shut up. Now everything from last night makes sense.
Please, our family reunions would be so awkward if you don't help us.
Right?
I mean, really, that's all this has been, is the scam to try and get as much money as we can from family members.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy kickback.
There's some truthful parts about it, like the Tavern Talk. You took 6 hours of work. You know?
Yeah, see, I mean, obviously 6 hours, maybe 2 hours worth of work.
Yeah.
I think 6 is probably pushing it. I mean, it's easily 20 minutes to doodle a tree, right?
Easy, man.
And look at this sheep. Look at this sheep. What is that? Is that big nostrils? Is it 2 big eyes? Like, what is that? That's art.
And I got this mooing and constant mooing from behind me
See?
through the wall. It's like hanging out with Toxic Cow in real life. It's
Les moo.
Can I ask another question about leveling?
Yeah.
What's up?
And then that's it. No more.
Other games where you're getting near the end, it takes like hours to level up.
You mean
how is it gonna be in VR? I mean, you will not spend like 4 hours.
We really. So, like, once again, like that comes into the whole realism thing, right? Like, we don't want it to be this. Like, you can't look at a VR MMORPG as a PC MMORPG. Like, in a PC MMORPG, it's okay to sit and hack something for hours, to sit and grind shit for hours. But in VR, you're gonna fucking have a heart attack at some point. Like, we don't want to be known as the game that destroyed 1 million headsets. You know what I mean? Like, making that's Beat Saber's job.
One of those things I was worried about, grinding.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously there'll be some, because at points you get lazy and you can't think of new quest line ideas. So, you know, grind. No.
There you go.
Sometimes you just need a 20-hour game, but you need to stretch out that 60.
Exactly. Okay, we've got Cran Forest. We've got 5 minutes of content. Let me make it take 40 hours to kill that dude right there. Blammo. PC Magazine.
I mean, it's an MMO, so you're gonna have to grind for stuff. That's just part of the game.
Right.
Or pay people to grind for it for you.
But we don't want it to be just horrible grinding. But then there's that other part of it that when you really have to put effort into something, it matters.
It's an actual payoff, and it's really boring if everything's easy.
Is there going to be like, as you level up, you unlock different skills and everything, kind of like Neverwinter?
Yeah, sure. Why not? Yeah, whatever you want in there. Fucking unicorns that fart you across the sky. Why not? Sure, whatever.
Well, no, yeah, we have a skill progression system currently based off of what weapons you use. It kind of goes along your warrior class or archer class, or like kind of on the back end. It's traditional style classes based off what you're doing with your weapons and stuff, and then you're gonna unlock stuff naturally as that happens. I think ours is gonna be more like Warcraft-ish, like traditional MMO stuff.
So I'm just going to end it here really quick. I think we've answered a lot of questions. We can still go on and we can still talk about some more stuff. I'm just ending it right now.